Hey, welcome back. It is guitar time. We're going to dive in and just talk about a couple of things that I think were really powerful for this song. And I use them occasionally, but definitely used it a lot on this song. We'll start with the acoustics. Nothing crazy. Okay, so I use Studio One. And Studio One, I'm sure other programs, other DAWs have this, but Studio One in particular has this. I call it strip silence. It's this function right up here at the top. And you can set your open and close threshold and then apply it. Let's just pick this vocal and apply it to that. And as you can see, it strips silence. You can go in and like the, like you can use it to clean up a track. But in this case, I used it on the acoustic and I didn't clean it up. Instead of, fading this out and getting rid of all this hogwash, I left it and it created that cool effect. Kind of gave it a vintage vibe, almost, I would say, like a record player type vibe. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. It added to the aesthetic. The acoustics, I did something with them I wouldn't normally do. I second stage of the red light, cranked the drive, let it just be distorted, on top of compression and probably some vintage EQ. Yeah, so that's how I got the acoustic tone. Just the regular acoustic guitar is pretty straightforward. Nothing crazy. So that's acoustics. Coming down to the electric, did a lot of similar things. Those are just clean edits. Probably was correcting some of my sloppy playing timing. But I did on the solo a lot of that strip silence as well. And I'll just kind of play through these. Let's just start with the solo. Everything in here is just played 4 times. I just did different textures. So for instance, this is going to be far left, far right. Same guitar part, a little higher tone, or a little more treble, a little bit more clarity, not so fuzzy and toned down. It's probably an octave. Sounds like straight up the middle. Another one, straight up the middle, but just a little more aggressive. And then just chaos. So that's the guitar section. I didn't use any amps. I used this guitar amp cab Dilly Bob, and that's how I did all the guitars on this. Go back to the top. I did a lot of stripped bits like this, telly lipstick kind of sounds, and just made them really choppy and cut just to add some percussiveness to the guitar. That kind of stuff. And the purpose of that is just to add some pop, kind of like a Spoon. I've been inspired by Spoon a lot lately, and it just kind of adds that vibe. They have gritty bits that pop like that, and I dig it. Here at the end. And then I use those same wild tunes to get into the chorus. And then let's highlight these. Let's go into this. What a vibe. I ate myself today. Some more gritty pops here. Yeah. While we're here, these little stabs, the song is about like waking up, being done, wanting to check out, couch potato, channel surf. And so I wanted something that like just droned on, that kind of gave like that drony, monotonous, like I've checked out feel. And this is what I came up with. It's they're little stabs, but I used a synth and a piano. I'm not sure what the synth I used was. I'd have to find the MIDI channel, but and a piano. And what I did was I wanted it to be dissonant, like hardcore. I can't do it with my voice, but how there's, you'll hit one note and then sharp or flat, you'll hit the note right next to it on a different string, and it creates that dissonant sound. I did that, but I used two notes in the scale. This song is in the key of E, so I used G sharp and an A, right next to one another. So it's dissonant, but it's in the scale, kind of in tune, prettier, if you will. And here's what that sounds like. Nothing to it. If you go to the solo, I got kind of crazy. Know what I'm saying? I may have actually played that solo on the acoustic as well. Yep. And this may actually be the track where I did the harmony. Yep. Just tucked in there. Just kind of teasing. So on the guitars, tape machine, not hammered, as you can see. Totally hammered. Fat channel, some compression, nothing crazy. And some EQ. Let's do this. Check this out. It was driving me nuts. So I cut some high end, cut a little lows, and I took some of that, 2300 out. I like it. So that's the guitars. I mean, it's really pretty straightforward. There's a lot of playing. Again, as you can see across here, I didn't use one amp, all in the box. And then kind of like a Colt Caparoon trick that I learned. I don't use it the way he did, I'd imagine. But I run two limiters on my main bus. One that just catches the peaks, and then another one that's like an analog glue, which I'll use these different settings. And sometimes I'll, micro adjust. But analog glue, analog pumping, hard and punchy. If I'm doing something heavier, I really like that sound. And then overall, this is something I wanted to share. I think that's like truly revolutionized my mixing, and probably most people know it. But let's look across the board here. Look at how low some of these volumes are. So I have started, anytime I track something, when I'm tracking it, I'm aiming for -10 to -6. And when I'm mixing, I leave it there. If I put compression on and I crank up the input, I back the output down. When I get my desired sound, I bring the output down and I put it at -6, even drums or drum buses, guitar buses. And why I've started doing that is you need that headroom. You need to be able to, whenever you're going to go in to actually do the mix, or even as you're going, I mix as I go. But what I do is, like, I always want vocals on the top, always want drums on top. But if you have everything hitting unity, you have nowhere to go. And it's like you're hitting the wall with everything already. And so if you keep everything at about -6, and then that way you can get that vocal up where you want it. Sometimes you don't have to even get it that hot. It depends on the track, but on this one, the vocal is probably, it's hitting 0. Drum bus, almost. Real drums are. But that's where you want them. And everything else is not there. And even I transition that over on my main bus, -6. Look at this. Give yourself some room. Because when you're gonna juice it is when you master it. Let's listen to this. I've got this pulled up and ready. This is mastered. Louder. And there's something about whenever you do hit that, whenever you keep it down in that ballpark, give yourself the headroom. When you go to crank it up in the master, it adds a whole new sheen and a whole new shine to it, I think, because you can tell you're not taking files that you've individually compressed and blown out the wazoo, and then hitting a master bus and your limiters and everything out the wazoo, and then you're going to pull it up and master it and take it out the wazoo again. You kind of need to, it's like gain staging, like back some things off and like slowly work your way to getting there. And it's a delicate balance because you're going to have some headroom, or what's the word I'm looking for, some noise floor. Like you're going to have some sounds in there you don't like, but as you're doing the track, keep all that in mind and try to keep that noise floor at a bare minimum. And just in doing that, remember, you're going to get to juice it one last time. Like, it's gonna revolutionize your mix, I think, if you do it right. And I have so much to learn and so far to go, but like that has helped me a ton. So, anyways, I hope this was insightful, and I hope that you learned a thing or two. And I don't know what I'll do next, but I'm sure there'll be more stuff like this. And thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys.